I love the kind of over the top like metal energy. I don't want to see my metal bands with a V-neck and a clean cut undercut haircut and they look like they work at Starbucks or something. That's not what I want to see from my metal band.
What's going on? It's me, Jesse Lee, en route to the grocery store, and I want to take a minute to let you know about this week's episode with Jeris Johnson. You probably remember him going crazy viral a few years ago on TikTok with the Ricky Desktop track, Damn, and then going viral multiple times after that, doing collabs with Papa Roach and Nickelback and Three Doors Down, and then he signed a huge record deal, big time, big tours, and then nothing. We didn't hear anything from him for about a year. Until about a month ago, he dropped his new song, When the Darkness Comes, which is topping all of the rock charts and has almost 1 million streams, I think, at this point. So we get into what happened to Jarus. Why did he leave? Where did he go? What was he doing for the last year? And why is he back? What's he doing now? Is he just trying to really get under people's skin? Was that what he's back for? I mean, I think so. We dive into a bunch of fun stuff. We talk a lot about butt rock and how he thinks a lot of modern metal bands are just playing a little too safe these days. So check it out and let me know if Jeris touches any nerves for you. Yeah, what are you sipping on?
Just some Topo Chico, the bottom of it.
Oh, dude, I love Topo Chico. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of the best.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a bottle, though. I've seen it in a can.
Oh, no shit. I don't think I've ever seen it in a can. That's crazy.
Shit. It must be because I'm in Ohio. We don't get the cool bottles. We get the shitty fucking...
Yeah, you get that weird shit over there in fucking Ohio.
Exactly. Speaking of, I like that shirt, man. I like that. Are those horses in a lightning storm?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's fucking epic.
Vintage tea.
Jeris, I like to start these off with a spicy question. Just, divide fans and listeners right off the bat. Really just piss people off in the comment section.
I'm pretty good at that, so.
All right, you can only watch one show for the rest of your life. Are you going with South Park or Family Guy?
I mean, to be honest, I'm much more of a Rick and Morty type of guy myself.
That's fair.
But I mean, I actually never really got into South Park at all. And although I'm not really into Family Guy anymore, there was a time period of my life where I really thought Family Guy was like peak cartoon television, So
for sure.
Yeah, probably Family Guy. Even though I understand, I have friends that are like trying to get me to watch South Park and tell me that it's like actually this like deep satire on whatever the fuck. And sure, that's cool, but I just never. I don't know. Something about the tone of it just never like got me interested enough to actually watch it. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, because you're a bit younger than me, so I think like when South Park came around when you were a kid, at that point, I think they started shifting to more of like the topical kind of content. Whereas like when I was a little kid, South Park was just fucking stupid dick jokes and poop. So I think maybe that's why I have a little bit more affinity to them. But I will agree. I think Family Guy would probably be my choice. I think it's more quotable too in the long run. I think it's got better one-liners.
I mean, I remember that, whatever, back in high school when I used to watch it and shit like that, I would never go an entire episode without like at least laughing at something, like a couple times.
For sure.
It's like they would always find a way for me to forcefully blow air out of my nose, So, yeah.
Dude. Rick and Morty's a good choice too. I forgot. I haven't watched that show in a long time, man. That's a good classic.
I do love it, even though it's like obviously it has like a reputation for having like a really cringy fan base and shit. Like, it's so fucking good. Like the peak time period of Rick and Morty was so fucking good. It's like it's so clever and smart and funny as fuck. And the new season's actually surprisingly pretty good too with the new voice actor. I'll
have to check it out because it's one of the few cartoons I can watch and like a scene will come on that will like literally make me go Jesus, like just not expecting that they would go there with certain things. That fucking awesome. Rules. Well, dude, shifting gears a little bit. I love the latest track, When the Darkness Comes. Fucking kicks ass. I've been playing it a ton on Octane, obviously. Everyone else is digging a lot.
Yeah, bro.
Obviously,
I saw. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw that
No,
this
you're
week it was the #1 most played song on Octane, and that's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I don't think that's. I don't.
Yeah,
I,
man.
As far as I know, that has never happened to me, or I never thought that I would get that. Kind of love.
Dude,
in that
it
way.
happened so fast, dude. Because I remember when we got it into rotation, whatever, a few weeks ago, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like Jarus is back. Cause I hadn't like heard anything from you for a little bit, and then like this pops in the rotation, like, and I listened to it, and like obviously, like a lot of people, I'm like, "Holy fuck, this sounds like Metallica!" Like right off the bat, like I heard that intro guitar riff, and I thought, "Ooh," I think my favorite review was somebody said, "It's like if Avenged Sevenfold hate fucked Nickelback, and then Nickelback stood too close to the microwave for 9 months. This would be that baby."
Whatever, man. People are gonna say whatever they're gonna say, and that's something I've learned. And like, especially when you're like a new artist, and like, look, I'm not a band, I'm like a solo rock and metal artist, which there isn't that many of. There's been a couple greats, over the course of history, and but these days there's not, you don't see it that much. And so I know that, as a still kind of a newer artist that's growing and building, like people are just going to try to throw any comparison that they think of right out the gate. And, of course the song sounds like fucking Avenged Sevenfold and Metallica and all that stuff, because I tried to make my version of a song like that, the classic 4 on the floor, metal sound, which I feel like not that many people actually really tap into. It's a lot of djenting and lots of reverb and vibey choruses with a heavy breakdown and stuff, and people aren't really tapping into the inspiration of like the fucking Black Album or something these days, and trying to like bring that into like a modern era. And so I don't know, I just thought it would be cool to try, and when I made it, I was like, yep, this is gonna fucking, I knew it was gonna catch something. I knew it was going to do something. I didn't really expect my first song, back after being gone for a year or whatever. I didn't really expect it to do as well as it's doing, to be honest. But for sure. Obviously I'm very grateful, and like I just feel so good about it. And it's honestly too, really, I know that I've been watching your stuff for a while, and I'm sure I remember you, whatever, kind of catching on to me somewhat early a couple of years ago, or at least being aware.
I was just say we both started on TikTok around the same time. Like we both kind of started growing together.
So I remember that, and back then too, like obviously you're like a rock and metal and alternative guy, and even back then, I admit it was hard to call what I was making rock or metal. It was a little bit. A little bit more left field than that, in particular. And so this song also is kind of, I feel like my first true song that's like really stepping into like the rock and metal space, and like a way that nobody can argue. Like, yeah, it does have like the chorus that kind of does like the weird Jeris stuff. And I still want to push everything forward in all the ways I want to, but, just kind of having a song for the first time that really just like has some fucking live drums, guitar, riffs, all that stuff. And to have it be accepted so well, I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, I made the right call.
You
we're
breathe
fucking,
a little bit now. How does that, right?
I'm like teed up now. And it's exciting too, because to know that this first song has done so well and caught so much attention. I mean, this is like the most boring song on my whole album that I've been working on.
Oh, damn.
Like the least interesting song on the whole album. So I'm really excited to see what, how people take the rest of the songs, like the singles and stuff coming up.
That's a good point you made too, as well. Like, obviously it has those like references to like the old school sound of rock and metal, but when I heard it, I thought it sounded familiar, but it also sounded fresh because you haven't heard bands do that in so long. Like no one is really going that route with it. And at least not in like a mainstream level. I'm sure there's a lot of underground bands all over the world. I'm sure I'm gonna get a fucking bunch of tweets after this, like, I still make that kind of music, asshole. But
60-year-old dude with fucking long gray hair.
Right. But then, like you said, you did throw in the Jarus flavor to it in the chorus. Because I mean, like everyone else, that was a left turn for me. I'm like fucking rocking. I'm like, oh shit, we're grooving now. Okay.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be the thing that, you know, was going to divide people on the song. And of course, people are like, you fucking ruined it with that stupid rap chorus and whatever. And like, you know,
I ruined my own song. Okay.
Yeah, of course we're gonna. But then look, you know, I don't need to do just a fucking Metallica song. You know, I can be inspired by that or whatever. But you know, I want to do something that they could never and would never do. You know, and incorporate that and see how it feels, and just, you know, like at the end of the day, like I'm an artist making art. You know, and people are gonna have their own interpretation no matter what the fuck you do. If I just did the rock chorus thing that the people hating on the current chorus, you know, wanted me to do, then people would just be like, people would be saying even more that it's just like a fucking
it's just a Metallica ripoff.
Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold or something. So, you know, whatever. You're never going to win. And I don't really care about that because it's not my job to control people's interpretation of art. You know, it's my job to make the best art that I can make and make something that only I can make, because that's our responsibility as artists, is to, you know, you don't need to make something that that's just like exactly what somebody else would do. I want to hear what only you can do. So with my music, while obviously I have influences and you know, take a lot of inspiration from great artists and great bands that come before me, I also want to make something that only I can do, and I want to take those sounds and those inspirations and do things that those bands could never have done. So I mean, no artist or band has ever succeeded just completely copying and doing the exact same thing as another band. Like there's a reason why there's no second Metallica or, you know, second Nirvana. Like there's bands that uses those influences and have those vibes and whatever, but there's no giant band that you could be like, oh yeah, that sounds exactly like another giant band, you know? Yeah, because I mean, you're never going to sound better. You know, you're never going to sound more like Nirvana than Nirvana. But you know, it's like the whatever. Any great movement of genres or anything like that, you know, obviously there's going to be similarities, like new metal bands sounding somewhat similar, but like, you know, each of them brings their own character to what it is. Are there some parts of some songs that are very similar to other bands or whatever? Sure, always. You know, that's what makes a genre, you know, is that the songs are similar. So, you know, whatever, man. People are going to compare and throw everything at the fucking wall and comment that I sound like this and that and this and that and the other until I get big enough to where people then start going, oh, this sounds like Jeris Johnson on other people's shit, you know. And that's just the cycle of it, you know. That's just how it goes. Every great band got compared to all kinds of people when they were, you know, starting out, until they get big enough that people accept them as their own thing, you know. So. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, what matters is the fact that they are talking, that they're moved enough by your music that they want to say some shit, you know. The worst thing they could do is be indifferent to it and just keep scrolling, because that would be, wouldn't be good at all. The chorus of that track too, I've seen a lot of people say it like it has like a familiar sound to it. Was it interpolated from fuck, I suck at that word. Interpolated from something else, or was it just a coincidence with that?
Yeah, it's a song. I mean, everyone knows that. Na, 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 na. You know, everyone has heard that, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
I remember I thought of, you know, the way the song actually started was me just playing that riff on the guitar over the chorus, like over the, you know, rap beat part. I was like, and that was cool too. But you know, I was like, yeah, what is this from? And I'm like singing it into the fucking Google app, you know, like search app, and it's like pulls up everything, and you know, after doing some digging and shit, you know, it's an old, you know, folkware song or whatever the fuck it's called. Like it's an old melody from like the 1800s. It's called you can look it up. It's called Streets of Cairo / you know, and or Poor Little Country Maid. And you know, once a song or a melody is that, you know, old or whatever, it falls under the area of fair use, you know. So like, I mean, I could go put a fucking Mozart like thing in my song, you know, I wouldn't have to pay in the Mozart estate or whatever the fuck his great grandkids or something. Like they wouldn't collect any
I
money.
would say Mozart the 76 is gonna come at your ass.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is cool, and it's very me. This melody is very has a me kind of vibe. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And of course, everyone's like, sounds like Kesha because she did one of her big songs, "Take It Off," from fucking years ago. That used the same melody, but yeah, look, it's not Kesha's melody. It's a fucking melody from 18, some dude in his shack in the 1800s made up or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, it's just
it almost reminds me of like Aladdin or something. The first time I heard it, like that, like I can imagine like a snake charmer or something.
It's got all kinds of different connotations that it brings up to people, but that's why it's cool. It's a great classic, kind of melody and sound, and
right.
Look, that's one of my strengths. If people know anything about me, they know that I have done a lot of interpolating of older songs and sounds and spinning them in new ways and stuff. It's always been a strength of mine. And so I thought, instead of doing like an actual reloaded version of an old rock song like I've done a million fucking times, why don't I get a little bit more creative about where I'm pulling inspiration and stuff from. And this is like about the only there's only it's not like I'm doing this for the whole album. I'm always grabbing. This just happened to be, there. So I just.
You're just like in libraries searching through archives. Like, okay, what can I use? What can I use?
I'm sure some people think that that's what I do.
Right.
Yeah, it came to me.
Yeah, it is really cool because, like I say, it gives like that whole Jeris Johnson flair to the whole song, and it really just fits the whole vibe of like this like epic like sword fighting lightning storm kind of chaos. I feel like this song, like I don't know, it all fits, man. It all really melds together. I mean, I love what you're doing with it, dude. Speaking of swords, is there a significance to the sword, and is it hard to travel with?
It can be hard to travel with. I put it in a guitar case, in a coffin case.
Oh, dude, no shit.
Yeah, because that's the only one that it's those cases, those coffins are fucking huge, so it fits the sword. The sword's long. But
that's fucking rules.
Yeah, and whatever, TSA will always inspect it and stuff. But most of the time, if I check it, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't
like, are you a fucking Viking? What the?
Yeah, or they check it and see it's it's not sharp. It's not like a...
Yeah. It looks real as shit.
Yeah, it looks real. It's a I got it from a dude in Hollywood, who makes like...
Oh, nice.
TV weapons and stuff.
Man.
So
I thought it was a real sword. Now I'm bummed.
Yeah, really. Sorry. Bro, real sword.
I'm gonna edit this part out. Oh.
Yeah, a real sword would be way too heavy too. Like it's just
I guess I
played around with maybe doing a real one, but it's just like doing this for an extended period of time. Like holding it up. Yeah, there's just no way. So
you have to get a whole suit of armor to really complete it.
As far as the significance of it, well, I mean, it really started way back a couple years ago for my song My Sword, when I made that song. And I wanted a sword for the music video, so I ended up renting it, and I liked it so much, and I started posting about it, and my fans started kind of latching onto the sword and stuff, and I was like, all right, I just need to keep this. So I hit him up. I was like, hey, how much for me to just keep it? And he was like, oh, $500. So I paid $500 and kept the sword. Sick. Then it just stayed, and then the name Jarus actually means holder of the mighty sword, which is cool.
Oh shit!
Not something I ever like super identified with growing up or anything like that. It just, I don't know, just kind of all
that's still cool,
randomly sort of clicked, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, swords, that's my thing. And then I really like, I've always been fucking nerd and like love Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and Skyrim and fucking all this type of fantasy shit, and I have a whole bookshelf of fucking books and stuff, and I like reading fantasy books and shit, and it's just kind of part of what I enjoy a little bit, just like that type of shit. And I'm just like fascinated with like medieval stuff, and just like low key wish I could fucking live back then, and shit. And I don't know, it just kind of all started meshing and like making sense to me, to just like embrace and just be like, yeah, fuck it. And it's also just metal as fuck, big fucking sword.
Yeah,
and, I like this.
That's some Bruce Dickinson energy right there, man. Fucking
yeah. I just love this whole like I love the kind of over the top like metal energy. You
Mhm.
know, I like that. I don't like I don't want to see my metal bands with a fucking V-neck and a
Yeah.
clean cut, undercut haircut, and they look like they work at fucking Starbucks or something. Like, I don't like
Right.
that. That's not what I want to see from my metal bands. You know, I want to see some interesting looking motherfuckers with some long hair fucking throwing it around. And, you know, I like that. Like, I like the over the top, like metal as fuck, you know, kind of aesthetic. And, yeah. And I just like embracing that. So the sword kind of just fits all in, you know, and just ties all that shit together. So
I'm sure it attracts a lot of like viewers as well because, like you said, there's a lot of people out there who love all that fantasy shit, and they're scrolling through like, oh, that dude's got a pretty badass sword. What's he doing with that?
yeah, except for the fucking TikTok algorithm. Like sometimes it'll get mad at sword because I think, you know, whatever, a weapon or whatever, and they'll take down
that stuff.
So
Is
I
such
have to avoid using it on TikTok. So I mainly just use it on Instagram and in music videos and whatever live, obviously. But
yeah, that shit's such a pain in the ass, man. Like even when I'm doing like a news story and like, I'm literally quoting certain things or I'm referencing certain like it's like the algorithm just has no sense of context. I have to like be so careful with the words I use and like there's certain images I use. Like such a pain in the ass, man.
Crazy thing we have to deal with.
Right, I know, just to create fucking content. Like, speaking of, so like obviously the meteoric rise of Jeris Johnson kind of started on TikTok back in like 2020, something like that.
Yeah,
2021.
End of 2020 is kind of, you know, when I first sort of broke onto the scene, if you will.
Yeah. So what were you doing before TikTok? Were you just hanging out having sword fights, or were you making music?
Yeah, I wish. Trying to make it, you know. It's just like music has always been for me like what I knew I was gonna do. It took, you know, it took a long time for me to really like I was always naturally gifted, you know, and I picked up the drums when I was 12, 13 years old and guitar shortly after that. And it just clicked, you know, it was a language I just understood. It just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And I was in metal bands and shit, you know, growing up. And yeah, just like at some point along the line, I was like, all right, I need to like teach myself how to produce and like, you know, all this stuff, record myself. And it just took years, honestly, of practice and trial and error. And, you know, I went completely away from rock and metal for a long time and was just like, I'm going to make pop music and be the next Charlie Puth or whatever. And then I'm going to be a rapper and do this. And it just,
I just weird alternate universe.
Yeah, I just tried a lot of different shit, honestly. And, because I liked a lot of different shit, and which is, you know, clear by the kind of genre bending aspect of my music anyways. And yeah, I just at some point along the line, you know, around that time period, I was kind of like just chipping away and trying, and I always kind of had like a little bit of a knack for like what might go viral or, you know, get attention and, you know, all that shit. And eventually it just kind of all clicked at the same time. And I just tried. I mean, I've tried and failed on TikTok for like a year straight, never had anything pop off. And then,
oh, wow.
And then, you know, then fucking damn, you know, that first song, which of course so cliche, but like now I like hate the song and whatever I think it's stupid or doesn't represent me like where I am at all now, but like it's my biggest song and blah blah blah. But yeah, it just popped and I'm very thankful that it did because it really like kind of helped launch everything. And then, you know, I started doing bringing the rock songs into the future and pulling from all those songs from my childhood. And then, you know, Last Resort happened, Last Resort Reloaded, you know, and Papa Roach heard my thing on TikTok and hit me up and was like, hey, like, let's fucking get together. Let's see if we vibe. Let's do this. Let's release it. Fuck it. So I was like, all right, cool. So we made that, finished it, you know, just kind of led me down the path. Signed a record deal, which I am obviously not a part of anymore. Very vocal about these days as well, that whole situation. But yeah, it just kind of sent me down the whole path. And I was living in Oregon and I moved from Oregon to LA. And yeah, and that was, crazy. My first like kind of truly moving away from my hometown and stuff, and just like
Yeah.
it was a lot. It was just a lot. The past few years were kind of a lot, and then all the record label drama happened, and kind of everything just slammed to a halt, and I had to fucking disappear for a while and figure some shit out.
Well, just to catch everyone up to speed in case they're not fully, into the backstory here, you were signed to 300 Entertainment, right? Which is like a label with a lot of like pop stars and hip hop stars, but they have some rock bands on there too. I think like Water Parks was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously that just did not go great for you, right? It just wasn't a good fit.
I mean, at first it was fine. And that's in part because like I was just having a moment, it was just like I was like every time I fucking posted a TikTok, it was also everything was different, a few years ago too on TikTok and everything also, but like just like I was just having a moment, and so the momentum was easy to kind of keep up with, and so it was fine at first for the first 5 or 6 months, and where it really took a turn for the worse was the label got bought out by Warner Brothers, and so I signed to 300 because they were like technically an independent label. They were not owned by Sony or whatever. They were independent, and they were smaller, and then all of a sudden that's the contract I signed, and now all of a sudden I'm getting absorbed into fucking Warner Brothers with 400 other artists, and now I was one of the like kind of priority or only rock artists in my label situation before, and now I'm getting thrown into the mix with fucking 21 Pilots and Slipknot and Panic at the Disco and all these other like and I'm still growing and trying, and I just my whole team got changed, and I just started getting thrown on people's desks that didn't care, had too much other shit going on, blah, blah, blah. And then, I'm not allowed to release anything unless something goes viral, and it just takes forever. And everything just got fucked. Everything just got totally fucked. And I wanted out of the situation. And I mean, I knew almost right away going in. I was like, this is not going to end well. This is going to go downhill. And it did. Yeah, it absolutely went downhill. Typical, and of course it's like the typical, everything's so typical, like kid who blows up on his own on TikTok goes and signs a big record deal, and then everything gets fucked up and he gets screwed over or whatever. And it's like, I don't even want to complain about it because whatever, but like, it is just what happened. And and so I had to like go away for a year, figure out this shit. And I kind of wanted to take the time, almost flip it and use it as an opportunity to really like figure out who I am as an artist, and what I wanted to do moving forward, and like, make an album. All right, fuck it. I might as well flip this into a good situation. So I'm going to disappear for a while. I'm not going to do anything for like a year. I'm not going to post. I'm going to get off of fucking TikTok. Stop worrying about trying to go viral on TikTok or whatever. Just like stop worrying about all that shit. Look inwards and really try to just make some music and do some shit for me. What do I want to make? What does my soul want to make? And really figure out what the Jarus sound should be, because part of my problem and part of the mistake that I made, and something I would probably retroactively not do, is I was just throwing everything at the fucking wall, because, I love a lot of different genres. I have a lot of different inspiration, and I have the ability and everything to create a lot of different stuff that I thought that if I could, I should. But what I learned is that in the process, I just kind of could never actually build anything solid, because every song sounded like a complete, one thing I'm doing Kid Rock, Nickelback, hip hop, and then I'm doing fucking hyper pop, and then I'm doing rap song, and then I'm doing metal with a fucking breakdown, and then I'm doing an acoustic ballad, and I'm just doing all kinds of shit, and it's fun, I guess, but it just never could click. You know, it never fully clicked. I was just too all over the place, and it felt like I didn't know who I was, you know? And so part of the opportunity I used to go away for a year was to figure out, like, who the fuck am I? And what do I sound like? You know, what does Jeris Johnson actually sound like? And take what I felt like were my favorite and best qualities of what I had done before and bring them forward in this new light. And also kind of, you know, go rock and metal with some of the shit, you know, throw those people a bone, you know. Yeah, I'll admit, you know, it wasn't fully rock and metal. Do I think that it's possible to create a rock and metal project without the use of live drums and guitar? Yes, I do think that it's possible, because I think it's possible to capture the energy of rock and metal in different ways. And I absolutely think that's possible. But I think that might be something I have to explore a little bit later down the line when the world is ready to hear it, you know, or even when I'm ready to create it, you know, and when I feel like I have been ready to create it. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to go more rock and metal, I'm still going to do it my way. I'm still going to push. I'm still going to make shit. I'm still going to make it something that people haven't heard before. But I'm going to give myself, you know, I had to give myself a limited toolbox, because with somebody like me, and I'm sure that there's plenty of other people that are similar to me that can do a lot of different stuff and like a lot of different stuff. So you want to do a lot of different stuff. And what I found is that it's been really fun and a really interesting challenge to give myself a limited set of toolbox. I got this sandbox, and there's a few tools in here, and there's other tools outside of the sandbox that I would normally gravitate towards and grab, but I'm going to challenge myself to get as creative as possible with this toolbox. What is in this box, and how can I use that, and how can I get as creative as possible with that? And that has helped me tremendously to develop what I believe to be my sound, you know, now. And, you know, of course I'm talking about this, and unless you're listening to this a year from now, it's not fully clear yet what my sound is. When the Darkness Comes is just kind of, you know, the beginning, so to speak, of
just a
the journey. And the more I release, and by the time the whole album comes out, people are really going to be like, oh, this is what he meant by all of this shit, you know? So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of unveil all of this, but it's been a welcome change of pace to kind of actually weirdly limit myself. And in doing that, it's actually completely opened me up in like the weirdest way. You'd think it would be the opposite, but it totally, like, because I have had to rise to this challenge, like, all right, I'm going to make a rock and metal album. There has to be live drums and guitar on every song in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be the whole song. Sometimes it can be, sometimes it won't be. But at least on every song, there's live drums and guitar. That was one of the tools. There was a few others too that I'll let people figure out later down the line. But yeah, man, it just feels really good. And obviously I kind of had a messy freshman year in the industry, you know, and it's not like gone the smoothest or been like a perfect upward trajectory, but nobody's is, you know, nobody's is. And people forget.
If it was, you would just be like a overnight success story. People would say you didn't earn it, you know, if it was all smooth sailing.
And even the overnight success stories we're looking at now, you know, people think about the bands that have blown up in the past couple of years, Bad Omens and Sleep Token and stuff. I mean, these guys have been around for like 8 fucking years at this point, just maybe even longer, but something like 7 or 8 years they've been around, and just now really like fucking really hitting it, you know? So I have to remind myself, like, look, I'm only a couple years in. I'm really thankful for all the attention and, you know, everything I've gotten and the opportunities I have gotten up until this point. Yeah. But I just have to remind myself, like, be patient, stay consistent, make great fucking art, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, like you were saying before, like I don't think it was a mistake though that you did all that different, like all this different sounds and all this different avenues and everything like that, because like you said, like it led you ultimately to where you are now. Like I feel like trying all that different shit out was what really helped you figure out like what works and what didn't work, and like, oh, okay, like
Yeah,
I don't want
I
to
mean,
be this guy anymore, or trap dude or whatever, you know.
yeah. I mean, mistakes are still mistakes, but that doesn't
Yeah,
mean I regret making them. You know, like,
right. You couldn't do it forever for sure.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad I stopped making that mistake and started,
Right, right.
moving on. But I don't regret them, but it was still a mistake,
Yeah, yeah.
quote unquote. Even though I
Right.
wouldn't change it, I wouldn't, if I could choose to go back in time or whatever. Obviously, I wouldn't. But that's
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
It's like life is filled with mistakes, mistake
Yeah.
after mistake for most people, and yeah, most people too. Obviously, if you could, I mean, it depends on how big the mistake is. Obviously, if it's a fucking giant, you might
Yeah.
actually choose to go back in time and fucking.
Right. You don't want to go to
But
jail instead.
most mistakes that most normal people are making, we
Yeah.
realize that it all leads to a certain point, and we're usually thankful to have made some of them because we have a new perspective and understanding on whatever it is.
Yeah. A creative mistake is probably the better one to make.
Yeah.
Was it easy to get out? Was 300 at least cool about letting you out of your deal, or had it
Well,
just actually completed?
it wasn't even 300 anymore at that
Or
point. It was
Warner,
Alexa.
I guess. Yeah.
It was Warner. So, I mean, look, like, without completely fucking just shit talking the fuck out of the whole company.
Yeah.
The short answer is no. It's not easy to get
Mm.
out of a big record label contract, and it's harder than it should be. It takes way more time, and it's part of the reason that I've not been releasing music for the past year up until this point. And all this stuff, it's messy, man. It's messy, and we honestly, it's the major label system is completely collapsing, and I think they know that. And there's so many better options nowadays. I mean, simply being completely 100% independent is a better option
Yeah.
than signing to a major label. And even then, even if you don't want to be completely 100% independent, there's so many other avenues and paths you can go down to, like, get some money to have a budget for music videos or whatever. That's not giving away, not selling your soul,
Yeah.
and so many different ways. And like, it's just, I would heavily advise anybody now that's watching this, or anybody anywhere, to, if you got a music career and you got something popping off and labels are offering you whatever, like, there are better ways, my friend. There are better ways, and you can save yourself a lot of hassle and trouble in the future by just not going down that path. Of course, the temptation of a bunch of money, come here, give me the
Yeah.
money, like, of course that is hard to turn down, and I understand it's hard to turn down, especially because I was fucking broke whatever
Yeah.
in Oregon,
Right.
to be like, oh my god, like, I can basically right now in one day get more money than most people make in an entire year. Like, I mean, that's a tempting proposition, but you just don't, it's hard to realize what that actually means, and it's easy to get blinded by it. And it's so typical, like, everyone's like, well, no, duh, record labels are bad or whatever, but they're not bad in the ways that people think that they're bad. Like, it's not really like, oh, the evil corporate overlord puppeteering and controlling the art. I mean, maybe it
Some
is
dude on a
somewhere. I don't know.
giant's chair.
That wasn't my experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually way stupider than that. Honestly, it's like way dumber than you think. It's just like a lot of bullshit and incompetence and slowness, and just like, it's just dumb. It's not even really like evil. I'm sure the contracts are evil or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
people talk about that and stuff. And, you know, yeah, I'm sure that there's
It's just
maybe
inefficient. It's not evil. It's just slow and
not like
inefficient.
not like the CEO of whatever label was just like, ha ha
Yeah.
ha ha, I can't wait to ruin all these people's lives. Like,
Yeah.
that's not actually how it is. It's just way dumber than that, honestly. And there's so many smarter options and smarter ways you can control your music and release it. And I mean, even just like, I mean, the amount of people on a daily basis just uploading shit on any one of these like distribution sites and putting it on TikTok, and it's going viral, and they have like 1 million monthly. Some kid in Russia just has like 1 million monthly listeners, and all he does is just upload a song a month on fucking whatever, and it just like goes. And they're making, I mean, they're literally making like tens of thousands of dollars every month.
Right.
Just a 16-year-old kid in his bedroom in Russia. Like, there's so many cool
stringing
ways,
together
you know?
looping sounds. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like a couple years ago they said it was like, and again, this was a few years ago. They said that Spotify had like 40,000 new tracks uploaded daily, and like again, this was years ago, and this was before TikTok. I'm pretty sure was really a thing as well. So it's like compound that, which is like the random sounds that are uploaded daily. Like, dude, oh my god, there's so much fucking. I put quote unquote music because some of it's not obviously, but there's so many like so much sound made every day and uploaded and monetized. And yeah, like you said, like some dude could loop together some like peaceful like ambient noise or whatever and throw it up on Spotify to get used on like sleeping playlists and shit. And the dude's racking up tens of thousands of dollars. You know, it's insane.
And that's like, I mean, you're starting to get into like people just like fucking business minding, like the fuck out. How can I automate like uploading random shit on Spotify to make money? And like, I mean, whatever. That's not obviously our thing, because we like to make music and art, you know, and whatever. But that's the main thing, is like people think that you need whatever, money and help and people and whatever. And yeah, like to a certain extent that's true. Like, you know, I have a great team of people still, that's even though I'm independent, but I still have, you know, my people I co-produce and co-write with. I still have, you know, like my very first A&R that signed me. He is still my guy. He left the label with me and said, fuck it. You know, I'm coming, like we're building this thing together, and he's awesome. And he's like super smart and awesome. And yeah, it just, you know, yeah, it helps to have a team, and it can, but like, bro, I'm telling you, like, you truly, now more than ever, you have power. You have the power to create your own destiny. You really, really do. And you know this as a content creator or whatever, like, there's an infinite world out there, and anybody can carve a path. You know, anybody can do it, and you can do it by yourself if you want. That's one thing I decided to do early on, was like, I don't want to rely. I need to teach myself how to make music and produce and stuff, because I don't want to have to rely on other people to execute my vision. You know, it's my vision. It's my art. A painter doesn't, you know, old back in the day, Picasso or something, doesn't go ask somebody else to paint what he sees in his mind. He paints what he sees in his mind, you know? And there's so many bands and artists out there that just like, I don't really care. I don't really need to. And it's like, bro, like, you could be making maybe like 5 to 10 times better music that you are even more proud of, and execute your vision if you taught yourself how to actually like produce the music and make it. And that was a goal I just had for myself a long time ago, was like, I realized that I had too crazy of ideas to let anybody else try to make them. Like, I knew
they're not going to be able to figure this one out.
I knew I was going to have to be in charge of making what was in this fucking brain. I knew I was going to have to do that. So I taught myself, and it was the best. It was the best decision I have ever made in regards to music and making music, was transitioning from just being a musician that could play guitar and write and sing and everything, to being a creator of art. Actually sitting here making and carving every last inch of my shit, I'm doing that. And that's why my shit doesn't sound like other people's shit, is because I don't have a producer who's making a bunch of other people's shit do my stuff. You know, I am making my stuff. And
you're like a one-man show at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I have help, obviously, like I said, and I have, you know, I don't do it completely alone, because I have a couple, like I said, trusted collaborators who know me very well and I've been working with for a long time. But yeah, I mean, every single song I am on the computer crafting and carving out every inch of the fucking song. And yeah, it's just awesome, and it feels like I can truly express myself. And I think and I hope that comes across in the music and feels like, oh yeah, you know, this is when people hear this album. I mean, I mean it when I say that nobody else could have made or would have made this album that I've made. I truly, truly mean that. And that's just because I focused on making art that only I can make, to my point earlier. And just how, you know, other bands, there's plenty of great bands and artists that do this, but that's a big thing. That's when you really graduate to becoming a real artist, is when you stop going, all right, I just like this genre of music, or I like these bands, so I'm going to try to make that. But you go, okay, I like that, but like, I need to make me. I need to give a piece of myself to the audience, because that's the gift. You know, the gift that you can bring to the world as a band or an artist is making something only you can make. That's your gift. You know, you can give that to people. People don't need to hear you doing something else, you know, you doing another band that already exists. You know, that was that band's gift. So you need to push yourself and to push the genres and the sounds that you love forward, and try to genuinely make something that only you would want to have the ability to make.
Right. And I think people connect to that authenticity as well. Like, because I mean, people crave that shit. They want something real and authentic. And I think more so than ever, even though there is a influx of fluff and bullshit on social media, I think people are savvier than ever to sniff that out, and not like, and kind of like when they see something or hear something that just doesn't sound real, they're like, ugh, fuck this guy. Like, you know, so as long as you're doing something you love and you truly create, then yeah, I think it will definitely resonate with the fan. I mean, the first single's already resonating with people. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like didn't take you seriously as a rock artist or metal artist in the beginning because you're fucking doing shit over 808s or whatever. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding, if you will. Like, the fucking track kicks ass. It kicks you in the teeth. Like,
I mean, apparently it's a fucking rock song, because it's the number one played song on Octane. It's charting on the Hard Rock Billboard charts. It's got like closing in on 2 million streams, almost 1 million views on YouTube. I mean, something must be working in the rock.
Somebody's listening. You're not just streaming it. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know, look, it's like, it's just kind of like, people are always going to say whatever the fuck they want to say. As I said earlier, always going to say stuff, and all you have control over is making the art. Make the art, and then let people run with it. And you know, it's just to have this song resonating this well, this early, feels really good. And there's another, like, you know, whereas before, to your point, I was fighting people to even consider me as a rock artist. Now something I do is I just say, well, yeah, you know, I made the best rock and metal song this year. I did. And then they say, well, it's pretty good, but it's not the best song. But guess what? You've just accepted me as a rock and metal artist. Because I've made you think past the sale. You're no longer saying, this isn't Jeris Johnson, isn't rock or metal. You're just saying Jeris Johnson didn't drop the best metal song of this year, but it's pretty good still. But you just said that
evil genius shit.
You just told me that I dropped a metal song. So I've already shifted the narrative.
Oh,
Whereas before, the narrative I was always fighting was like, he's not rock, he's not metal, he doesn't even make rock, he doesn't even make metal. And now the only thing they're arguing with is that I'm just not the best. I'm just not like their favorite rock or metal artist. But I am making rock and metal now. So just little by little, and then eventually, I promise, you will see my name in that number one spot. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it's after I'm fucking dead. I don't care. But you will see the name Jeris Johnson in the rock and metal world at the number one spot at some point in time. I guarantee.
God, I hope they pull this clip from this podcast in your Grammy acceptance speech one day. Like, he said it back on a Jesse Lee show in 2023.
Yeah, well, fuck the fucking Grammys. Speaking of the Grammys, I mean, Jesus, that's always a mess in the rock and metal space. So who knows?
I mean, of course they're going to parade Foo Fighters and Metallica out there. Obviously, they're obviously going to put the stalwarts or whatever you want to call them out there. But yeah, man, it's just
but I think most people in the rock and metal space probably would have wanted to see, like Sleep Token and Bad Omens and Falling in Reverse and like these bands that have had massive moments and songs in the past year that are genuinely amazing bands that aren't dying on stage, and can actually play their shit live and stuff. Like, I think that's what people are upset about is like, why aren't, I mean, and it's possible, it's possible that they didn't submit. I don't know, but I don't know. Like, why aren't we seeing that representation? These are huge bands. Like the numbers, I mean, they're doing Sleep Token and Bad Omens, all this stuff are doing bigger numbers than fucking Metallica and stuff did with that album, like more streaming and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure why there's no representation with the rock and metal thing in the Grammys. I assume it's just because it's a bunch of old heads, and that's just the way it is. But I mean,
the metal category is slightly better because at least they got Spirit Box in there. Obviously they got obviously got Slipknot, which isn't technically a new band, but it's like at least a little more like, because it sucks when they throw somebody in like a metal category that just doesn't even belong in there. You're like, what the fuck? How does this get in here?
Yeah.
But
it sort of genuinely feels like the people that are making the rock and metal categories like maybe don't even listen to rock and metal or pay attention. I mean, it is cool that Spirit Box got the nod, but like that's the only one that feels like somewhat new and relevant, and Spirit Box is great, but like I said, I mean, they haven't had the same big moment that like a Sleep Token or a Bad Omens have had in the past couple of years. So I'm just not sure why there's no representation, and there might never be. Because it's political as fuck. Okay, it is.
Oh, it's definitely
super political. So look, the Grammys are cool and everything, and yes, it would be an honor to win one or be nominated. And I mean, of course, if it was me, I'd be very thankful and it would be awesome. But I feel like a lot of people think nowadays that the prestige of the award has kind of faded, and people don't really put as much weight as they maybe once would in getting nominated and getting the award and stuff. So, at least we still have the whatever it's called, the Metal Music Awards, or it used to be like Golden Hammer or something, right? It used to be that
Golden Gods, I think.
Golden Gods. And now it's the Metal Music Awards, I think is what it's called. So that's cool for our scene, to have something, and I like that. But I don't know.
I think with Bad Omens, I think that record is actually old as shit that they put. I don't think that even came out in 2022. The last record they put out.
Yeah, but you can like, I mean, it doesn't matter because you can like the way the submissions work. Like there are songs that were like submitted for Grammys and stuff that like came out in like 2021 for this year because like it had like a big moment this year or whatever, or like best new artist. It's like some of the artists on Best New Artist have been around for 10 years, but it's because it's the first time they submitted, because they're popular now or whatever, that they're a new artist, but they're not new, they're just, so it's weird. It's confusing. I'm sure that, the people, none of us on the outside know the complete full story or whatever.
Oh, God,
of course.
Of course not.
But still, it seems like if they were truly looking at all the right people and doing all the right stuff and really acknowledging the scene and the way it actually really is for us that are involved in the rock and metal scene and community right now, there probably would be some other bands and people in there that are not in there, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, speaking of Bad Omens, man, they got to do something new soon. I feel like they've been riding that record for so long, man. What are they waiting for?
I know, it's actually surprising, because if it was me and I was having that big of a, if I was having that big of a moment, I would definitely drop a big new song or something at some point in the past couple years. But maybe it's possible they're just they haven't needed to, because the songs just keep doing well and they crush on tour and they're so good. Like, I don't know, maybe they're just totally working on an album or whatever, and they're just gonna fucking pretty soon just do a whole album rollout and fuck the whole dropping singles every once in a while thing, and they're just album to album kind of band, and that's cool. I fuck with that. That's a really classic way of kind of doing it. So I don't know, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be like it's don't fix what's not broken. Like, it's working for them right now. They're still getting a ton of fucking spins off of their record that's a couple years old. Like, maybe they're just trying to get every little bit of juice out of that one. Squeeze every bit they can.
That's a thing that people do, on the business side of things, is like, well, if you got a song that's popping, like, we can don't drop another song until we've really gotten all what we can out of this, because I mean, people are it's crazy, because it takes actually way longer to have a hit song really truly become a hit than you think. Like, we think of whatever, Just Pretend or something, to use the Bad Omens example, as being a song that's what it is, 2 or 3 years old, complete old news. But it just recently, in the past, I was at the Bad Omens LA show, and Noah was talking, and he was like, yeah, we just got #1 on the rock and alternative radio charts last week or whatever. And it's 2 years later, and it just now hit #1 on the radio or whatever, rock radio. So I mean, it actually takes way longer than fans think to build out a hit song, and it really does have a long life cycle. And people think, well, the song's been out for a month, I'm bored of it because I've listened to it 500 times already, and I want something new. And I get it, me too, because I'm a fan of all these artists also, and I like listening to new shit. But you got to remember that the song still gets introduced. People say that all the time on my TikTok. When the Darkness Comes has been out for just now a month, literally a month yesterday. And I still post about it on TikTok. People are like, why the hell do you keep posting about it on TikTok? I'm like, because tens of thousands of new people hear the song every single time I post about it.
Right, exactly.
Why would I stop posting about it? Sometimes hundreds of thousands or millions of people, if I get lucky and the fucking shit goes viral. But at least at the very bottom amount, guaranteed for me, tens of thousands of people are introduced to the song or reminded of the song, go listen to it again, whatever. Why would I stop posting about it? Why would I ever stop? And
a lot of people need to hear something a few times before they really get into it and go after it.
It's the concept of the 3 touches to get a sale.
Yeah,
it's super famous kind of concept, and it's and if you think about it, if everyone here that's listening thinks about it for a second, and you're on your phone, you're scrolling, and you see a band or a snippet of a song, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That catches your attention. That's cool. Whatever. Most people will just think that's cool, and then they'll scroll past it. 90% of the time. 90% of the time, they won't even like it or comment on it or anything. They'll just think to themselves, oh, that's pretty cool. Scroll. And then the next day, they might see it again, or it's another video about the song, or it's another thing, or whatever. They get another touch with the song, second touch, and they go, "Oh, that's actually really cool. I'm going to give it a like this time." And then they scroll again, and then scrolling, whatever. Still don't even add it to Spotify or anything like that. And then the third time comes around, they see it again, new context, whatever. Maybe it's a whole different, maybe they hear it on Octane or something. Who knows?
All right.
But they get another touch with it and they go, fuck, yeah, I actually really love this. This is the first time I've heard the whole song. And I actually really, really love this song. Like, comment, follow, go to Instagram, follow, open Spotify, look it up, follow, click like on the song, add it to playlist. And now they've bought in. Now they've completely bought in. And they're listening to the song, and now they're actually adding to the song's life cycle, you know? So, yeah, that's what happens. And you gotta fucking, I don't care how many times I gotta fucking post it, but when it's getting attention and when brand new people are introduced to the song over and over again, like, I would be doing myself a disservice to not keep posting about the song, because new people get introduced to the song every time, or new people finally buy into the song
right
now that they've seen it 3 times or whatever. So
yeah, like if you were posting it and it kept getting like 0 views over and over again, then it's like, okay, I'll stop posting it. But yeah, if you keep posting it and it keeps fucking popping off, like, why would you stop? Like,
you know, I'm gonna do it until it stops getting views, and then I'll think of a new way to post about it or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
like, that's the thing, is like, you got to be consistent, and especially as like an independent artist and stuff too. I don't have a marketing team that's out there paying influencers to use the song and whatever. Like, it's up to me. It is up to me to get the song in front of people, you know, and it's obviously up to people to run with it and word of mouth and, you know, everything, you know, it's part of how everything spreads. But yeah, it's mainly up to me to make sure that my song gets in front of people. And the main way I have control over that is by fucking posting about it.
Dude, yeah, like you say, at no point in the past have you had more control over your future and your sound and everything than you do now, because literally you can make things yourself in-house, post it online, and it can go viral. And like, you can keep posting it until it stops fucking working, you know. And it's just, you kind of get to dictate how you want it to be presented and shown to people. It's like you were saying before, like when the label was like, oh, we're gonna wait till you go viral again to put out a new song. It's like, well, dude, if I could pinpoint what would go viral every time, what the fuck do I need you for? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
like, obviously, like,
I've gone viral a million times.
Yeah,
a million times, and I've also had stuff I thought was going to go viral that didn't go viral, and then I've had stuff I would have never thought go viral. So
yeah,
part of going viral means that it spreads like a virus, and that's out of your control. You know, it's like most of the sounds that I've had pop off on TikTok, whatever, like if I've had a piece of my song that got a bunch of uses, it's never the one that I thought was going to get used, or it's never like the section of the song I thought was going to get uses. It's some other thing, or what. It's not completely out of my control. It just happens, you know, and that's part of the beauty of music and fans and the whole internet and everything. Is like, you have to realize, yes, a lot of it is in your control, but it's only in your control up to a certain extent. And at the end of the day, you know, if something is going to go viral, it's because people are making it going to go viral. You're one person or you're one band. You're not going to do it. All you have control over is making, like I've said a million times, the greatest art you can make. And if it's truly great, and conversation worthy, people will talk about it. People will post about it. People will like it. People will buy in if it's truly great. So that's been my focus and my shift. Whereas before it was reverse. I was kind of always like social media first, music second, where I was like, how can I get a viral moment and then spin it into an actual song? And now
you're thinking about TikTok sounds instead of songs.
And now I'm completely reversed. I'm like, I don't even give a fuck about going viral on TikTok, because I know if I make a truly great piece of music, that it'll just go viral anyways, because it's that good, or it's that conversation, you know? So that's my whole perspective shift, and another big thing that has changed over the past years, like that shift. And I think that is where bands and people should focus. Like, quit trying to go viral on TikTok with a mediocre song, and make a much better song and a much better piece of art, and it will be way easier to go viral. You know, all I had to do, my biggest viral video for When the Darkness Comes is just me posting the music video. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't me thinking of some gimmick, some lie or gimmick that all these people do, showing my mom who doesn't even know I make music.
God, I fucking hate those videos.
My new song or whatever. Like all the fake bullshit. And everybody hates it. Everybody thinks it's corny.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks. And it's so obviously a lie and a gimmick nowadays that like it's just dumb. So instead, make a great piece of music and a great video and just post that. And if it's truly awesome, it'll fucking go viral. It really.
I mean, really like I was gonna say, like the video is badass. So that's really all you need. You don't need a fucking anything outside of that because the video itself is enough of an attention grabber. Really pulls people in. Well, listen, Jeris, I feel like I could talk to you for like another 2 hours about shit. I feel like we just barely scraped the fucking sword here on this one.
Probably.
But we do gotta wrap it up. Hopefully we can do this again soon. Maybe on the next when the album comes out, we can come back on. We can talk about it some more.
Yep.
But I do want to end this on one fireball question. You know, something really just one last hurrah here. So get your thinking cap on. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
What is the greatest butt rock song of all time? First one comes in mind.
Oh my God. You're asking the hardest question I've ever been asked in my entire life.
I come with the tough questions, man.
It feels like no matter what I would say, there'd be something I'd be showering later and think of like, fuck, like, why didn't I say that? You know, but it feels like to me, and this might be like a bit of a cliche kind of answer, but it feels like to me, there's not a lot of songs that truly, in my opinion, perfectly encapsulate the essence of butt rock than Higher by Creed. I think that
you can't go wrong, man.
It is obviously like, you know, whatever, one of the most like memed about songs, and it's like super typical song to like fucking either make fun of or love. But like, I mean, come on. It is like butt rock in a nutshell. It is it's like what started the definition of butt rock to me is like that. So probably
it saved the Texas Rangers season, man. You know it's got to be good. Yeah, man. Well, that's a great choice, man. I'm definitely gonna clip that up and post it on TikTok because that fucking rules.
Flip it up.
Oh man. Well, dude, again, it's been great talking to you. Is there anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on fucking TikTok. Jeris Johnson everywhere. Pretty simple. It's just my name.
Sick.
And yeah, I'm working on the greatest metal album of our generation, and we will be number one. I promise you that. All right, let's fucking go, baby.
You heard it here first, and probably not for the last time. I think this is it, guys. So keep your fucking eyes peeled, and also make sure to share this episode with somebody that has good taste, somebody that appreciates real rock and metal music. All right, take it easy now, and bye bye.